I hate to break it to you, but someone needs to fucking say this. You need to use a fucking food scale because your eyeballing it ain't cutting it. So if you want to drop weight, I'm sorry, there's just no fucking way around it. You have to be in a calorie fucking deficit. Keto, portion control, fasting, no matter what fucking type of diet you try, they all do the same shit. They all leave you in a calorie deficit. And so it doesn't matter which one you want to go with. What matters is at the end of the day, you're in a fucking calorie deficit. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's say that you want to do intermittent fasting. Here's your balanced meal. Here's what you're supposed to be eating, right? You're supposed to have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. Intermittent fasting, all it does is cut out one of these meals, leaving you in a calorie deficit. Same thing with keto. This is what you're supposed to be eating with keto, all three of your macros. They cut out 1/3. Again, leaving you in a calorie deficit. Portion control. Let's say that you're going to have all your carbs, fats, protein. You're just going to eat a little bit less of them. Still leaving you in a calorie deficit. So calorie deficit equals weight loss. No calorie deficit, no weight loss, period, non-negotiable. There's no fucking way around it. I hate to break that to you, but that is the fucking truth. So in order for you to understand how to get into a calorie deficit, we ask you to food log. Why? For two main reasons. Number one, awareness, and number two, education. For this video, we're going to be focusing primarily on the awareness part. So when you food log, it shows you if, one, you're overeating. What that typically looks like is you skip breakfast, and then you have fast food for lunch, you have fast food for dinner. 2 fast food meals a day is going to be easily over 3,000 calories, leaving you overeating. Food logging is also going to show us if you're undereating. That usually looks like you have coffee, you have lunch, and then you come home and you're tired to cook, so you have girl dinner. That ends up resulting in undereating. And then the third thing that food log can potentially show us is if you're under eating throughout the day and then binging. So that looks like you skip meals throughout the day and then you come home and you have one big ass meal. I'm gonna talk about binging because when people think about binging, binging is not always like sitting at home and then just eating a shit ton of food. It's not always volume. Sometimes binging can be eating a little bit of food that has a fuck ton of calories, and so binging is not just volume of food, it's the total amount of calories you eat. So as these pictures show, here's like a lot of food. That's one form of binging. Here's also a different type of binging, which is it looks like it's just a little bit of food, but it actually ends up being a whole fuck ton of calories. So I want you to keep that in mind because binging can look both of these ways. Now, out of the three things that I mentioned, food logging is going to help you discover. Can you guess the breakdown of each? Like what percent of people overeat? What percent of people undereat? What percent of people undereat and then binge? Here's a breakdown of what I see. I would say about 20% of the clients that I work with are overweight because they overeat. I would say 40% are actually overweight because they undereat. So their body ends up storing more. And I would say about the same percentage don't eat throughout the day and then binge a big meal. Food logging helps you understand where you're starting from, but more importantly, how to adjust. So if you're overeating, we need to drop calories to put you in a calorie deficit. If you're undereating, we need to increase the calories so we put you in a healthy calorie deficit. And if you're skipping meals and then binging, we need to space out your calories and potentially also drop or increase your calories to leave you in a healthy calorie deficit. So we have a Fitbit to like track how much calories we're burning. We don't have any type of device to track our food. So we have to do it manually. Now, luckily for you, this isn't like the thousands or the 1900s, like the kids say. Back in the day, you used to like have to literally manually write down everything that you ate, and then you would have to get one of these books and then look up how many calories, how many proteins, how many carbs were in that food, and then manually fucking track like a dinosaur. It is so much easier now because we have things like the QueerGym app where we can log all of your food. Okay, if you don't have the QueerGym app because you're not working with us, what are you doing? But you can also use like MyFitnessPal. The point is that there's fucking technology now that makes it so much easier. And yes, AI is on its way. I've tried a couple of them. It's just not there. It's inaccurate as fuck. But in the meantime, what are we gonna do? Just wait around for AI to like get better so that we don't have to work so hard tracking? No, hell no. We're gonna do the best we can right now with what we've got. So yeah, food logging can be a lot, especially when doing it on your own. But you don't have to do it on your own because you have us and we have a fucking method. And the method is this. We don't teach you to just food log all at once, all the food, all the meals, track everything because it's overwhelming and you're going to burn the fuck out. We teach you to do this one meal at a time. And with each meal, there's two things we're helping you figure out. Number one, your macros, proteins, calories, carbs, that whole shit. Most people get that part, right? X amount of calories, X amount of protein, easy peasy. What tends to fuck people up more than the macros for each meal is the fucking mood. Every meal has a different mood. Breakfast, you're usually rushing at the door because you're running late to work. Lunch, you're typically too busy, you're too stressed out, you got so much shit to do, you eat at your desk. Dinner, you're normally exhausted from the day. Like every meal has a mood. And with each meal, we not only help you address the macros, but help you figure out how the fuck to manage your mood. And we do this one meal at a time because both of these at the same time with every meal is just intense and you're going to burn out. Second thing is in the beginning, we have you eyeball the portions. We're not going to have you fucking weigh all your food in the beginning. We're just going to have you eyeball it. So here's the eyeballing your portions starter pack. The best way to do this eyeballing is just to use your hand, okay? We're lesbians. We're good with our hands. Wink, wink. Here's just an idea of easy ways that you can eyeball your portions using your hands. All right, so we see the fist. That's usually about a cup, okay? You see here the front of your fist. The knuckle part is usually about half of a cup. You can use the fingertip for the teaspoon, the thumb for tablespoons. And usually for female bodies, your palm is about 4 ounces. For male bodies, it's usually about 6 ounces. So instead of walking around like a weirdo with your fucking scale, you can just use your hand to eyeball things. So in the beginning, simply just eyeballing it is going to give you results. But what happens when you've been logging for a while and it quote unquote looks perfect and you're still not seeing results? Okay, can you relate? Has this happened? Because it's definitely fucking happened to me. That's why I'm making this video. It has to do with portion distortion. Your portions are all fucked up. Too big is usually the problem. We need to calibrate these, okay? We need to calibrate your eyeballs so that you're getting your portions more accurately. So how do we fix that? There's two options. Option number one is drop the calories in your app. So whatever your food log in your app, let's say that your app says log 1,800 calories. Drop that down to 1,600 or 1,500 in your app. And that's the goal that you're shooting for because you know that you're not closely tracking every little fucking thing. Okay? I've done this. It works. Not my preference. My preference is actually way number two, which is to recalibrate your fucking eyeball. Okay? I've tried this and it worked. Okay. I tried this and it worked like a lot of okay. So here comes the food scale into the motherfucking chat. Now, the purpose of weighing your food is not to weigh your food. The purpose of using the food scale is to recalibrate fucking eyeball. It's not about the food. It's about the eyeball, your eyeball. Because I don't want you to be a fucking weirdo out with your friends at dinner and then you whip out a fucking food scale. That'd be weird as fuck. Let's keep it real. Now, remember, there's just no way around it. You got to be in a fucking calorie deficit, period. And what happens is when your eyeball's fucked up, you underreport your calories. On average, most people underreport calories by 20 to 30%. So if we're talking calories, if you think you're logging 1,600 calories, you're probably really eating closer to 2,000 calories. Okay? That is the difference between seeing results and not seeing results. It's huge. So how the fuck do you use a food scale? Here's the basics, okay? You put your plate or bowl, whatever the fuck on the scale. Turn it on and hit 0, okay? That's not going to count the weight of the bowl. Make sure that you use grams. Grams is like the universal language for measuring your food. Because think about it, macros are in like, how many grams of protein should I eat, right? Grams. Use grams. Then you're going to add your first ingredient, okay? The number you see there, that's only going to be the weight of that food. You're going to log that. Then you're going to hit tare or hit 0 again. And you're going to add the second ingredient, and that's going to show that weight for that food only, and you log that, etc. Okay? I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because you can easily fucking Google how to use a food scale. Easy peasy, okay? But I do have this little video here just to give you a little refresher.
Easiest way to track your macros to log this yogurt bowl that we're going to be using for breakfast. So first, we're going to grab our hemoglobin scale. I got this from Amazon. Turn it on, and we're going to add the bowl first. Once you add the bowl, hit the tare button. It's going to zero it out. Now that our scale is zeroed out, we're going to go ahead and add our yogurt. We can just scoop it right in. Right, now it's shown in kilograms. You want to change the unit to grams because that's the most universal, especially when you're logging your food. So 161 grams of Greek yogurt. We're going to go ahead and find this in our food logging app and add 161 grams. I'm just going to zero it out once we have calculated that. Back to zero. Now that our scale is back to zero, we can just go ahead and add the next ingredient, and it'll calculate how much it is. I'm going to add granola, finishing out 27 grams of this purely Elizabeth. Zero it out again. Just write these down or log them as you go. Now,
Okay, this is a cool little hack. Check this out.
add our peanut butter. So 2 ways you can do this. You can do the same method, add it into the bowl, or you can also put the peanut butter right on the scale, zero it out, and then scoop how much you want out. And it's going to be a negative number, but that's how much you took from the jar. So I took 22 grams out. Now I want to add this honey.
Pretty cool. All right, let's keep it going.
So I'm going to go ahead and zero this out again. So that's 7 grams of honey. Last but not least, we're going to add some blueberries. You can probably guess what we're going to do now. We're going to zero the scale out again. Do the same thing.
All right, so you get it. Now let's go over some common mistakes that happen when you are using a food scale. Number one, not using a food scale. Okay, we already went over why that can be a huge mistake in terms of seeing results. Okay, the scale is going to always be better than your eyeball. Common mistake number two is forgetting to tare out or zero out the scale. Okay, what that means is sometimes when you forget to do that, you're adding two foods together or you're including the plate weight. Another common mistake is adding food without zeroing between ingredients. It's so much easier for you to do the math, and I've done this plenty of times, to like, oh, that was 100 and then I added 30 and then by the third ingredient, I fucking forgot. Okay? So zero it out in between every ingredient and log it before you move on to the next. Another common mistake is not tracking everything. Okay, I know people call this obsessive. It is not obsessive. Get rid of that fucking narrative. You are learning. Okay? If this was money, you'd want to be fucking accurate. You would want to count all your fucking money. Right? Nothing wrong with obsessing over money. But oh Lord, like God forbid you're accurate with your fucking food and the way that you nourish your fucking body. That's crazy. That narrative is not fucking helping you. And if it was, it would have already. Okay? Little things like a tablespoon of olive oil, easily over 100 calories. A handful of nuts that don't really seem like a big deal. Or the coffee creamer that you just fucking throw in there. Like these don't seem like a big deal, but they eventually do add up. Just think about this. The oil for your eggs, the creamer in your coffee, the little snack in between meetings. That's easily right here, almost 500 calories. That's the difference between a deficit and no deficit. Another common mistake is the way that we cook things. This is an example of an egg. If you boil an egg, 70 calories. If you fry an egg, 90 calories. If you scramble an egg, 120 to 140 calories. It's still the same fucking egg, but I bet for most of us, you just went in your food log and you're like, one egg. But you didn't account for how that egg was cooked, right? If you fry it, you're not accounting for the oil it took to fry it or the butter it took to fry it. If you scrambled it, if you put in there milk or other ingredients to make it fluffy, you didn't account for that. You're just like, oh, I just had one scrambled egg. These things matter. Like, think about this when you go to a restaurant. Another common mistake that happens is logging your food incorrectly. Cooked versus raw. This is seen a lot when it comes to rice or meat. So both are in your food log, both are fine, doesn't matter. What just matters is that if you weighed a cup of cooked rice, that you log a cup of cooked rice. Make sense? Okay, trusting serving sizes on labels. Yo, they be lying. Do not trust these hoes, okay? They are lying. Let me show you a video so you understand what I'm talking about.
What I'm about to show you is the number one reason why you should never trust a food label. So take a look at this label here. You see how it says 1/3 cup equals 35 grams? This is me taking a measure up and weighing out 1/3 cup of the oatmeal. And just to prove to you guys this is off, I went ahead and weighed out that 1/3 cup of oatmeal on a digital food scale. So 1/3 cup is supposed to be 35 grams, right? That's not 35, that's 46. So this is why I say you should never trust a nutrition label just for baking. It's highly important to make sure that you weigh out your food so you can be as accurate as possible. If you're tracking your food and you're weighing out 46 grams of oatmeal rather than 35 grams, you're definitely overeating on calories right there. And just think this is just one small bowl of oatmeal. Imagine how many calories you could be off if you were doing this for every meal all day long. And if you think this is just too hard, but you want to lose fat, that's like trying to budget without ever knowing how much is in your bank account.
Boom. Okay, another example of that is for something like chips. Like, oh, I had 12 chips, but those chips are different sizes. Some of them are broken, some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. Don't just trust the serving size. Actually, like, weigh out your fucking chips. And finally, one of the last common mistakes people make is not recalibrating your eyeball every once in a while. Let's be real, you're not going to weigh your food every single day for the rest of your fucking life, but you are going to have your eyeballs in your head for the rest of your fucking life. And all I'm saying is the same way that you go and check up on your budget every once in a while, do the same shit for your eyeball. So what if you're doing all this shit and you're still not seeing results? I hate to say this, but I have to say this, okay? The science doesn't change, okay? You're not special. Like, the science did not change just for you, and it's the same for everybody else. It's not how this shit works. Okay, if you are quote unquote doing everything right and you're still not seeing a deficit, you're not doing everything right. There's something that you're fucking up. Period. That's just the way it is. I am sorry, not sorry to tell you that. I have to keep it real with you. Second, it's very likely that you don't have anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your thyroid. There's nothing wrong with your genetics. You weren't just born fat or out of shape or unhealthy. I promise you, it's very unlikely that that's the case. What is the case is that you probably need to log even tighter than you already think you're logging. You need to log tighter than what you think you're logging. Sorry, not sorry, just the goddamn truth. And you might also need to just simplify your menu. Okay, consistency over variety. I'm not saying that you're going to eat the same shit for the rest of your life. What I am saying is that most people try to start improving their nutrition and they want to have all this variety, all the different food all the time. That's harder for you to weigh. That's harder for you to log. That's harder for you to keep track of. That's harder for you to be consistent. You need to be consistent and boring in the beginning. And as you're getting more experience doing this, you start to add variety. There's like a little yin and yang thing to this whole thing, right? You're not going to start off with like eating new shit all the time. And you're not going to end up eating the same thing over and over and over until you fucking die. There's a balance that these two things play out throughout your journey. And if you're having a hard time seeing results and you're quote unquote doing everything perfectly, try to just simplify your menu. Once you see things happen and you see consistency there, you can add a little bit of variety, little by little. And trust me, I know this is not probably the news you wanted to hear. I get it. It's fucking annoying, 100% with you on that. But it is what it is. It's fucking science. It just is science. And I'm just keeping it 100 with you. So, ta fucking da. That is it. If you found this helpful, I got more of this shit. I'm just trying to help you all keep the shit real so you too can be a happy, healthy motherfucking homo. Peace.